This is going to be a look at the Ravens' red zone offense or lack thereof in the 24-20 loss to the Giants on Sunday. Of course, we fall to 3-3, and we're all angry and upset. Rightfully so, we should be. I'm going to separate the red zone offense failures into two videos by possession. This is going to be a look at the fourth possession. Once the Giants have tied the game up 7-7, late second quarter, I believe, on a short touchdown pass on a 3rd and 4, I think, to Wan'Dale Robinson, a pick rub concept out of a bunch formation. I mean, surprise, surprise. You know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but those things are going to continue to happen if we continue to not identify formations defensively in certain positions. And that's something that's happened to our defense for the last 2 or 3 years, you know, prior to Mike Macdonald, even under Wink Martindale. Look, this fourth possession is going to be another illustration of the offense bogging down inside the red zone. 6 consecutive passes, 3 on the fourth possession, 3 on the sixth, that really are confusing to me because of how well we're running the ball throughout the game. Now, to the point where we are the fourth possession, we only run the ball once on that drive. It is a 30-yard gain to Drake, or 29-yard gain, something like that. But by the time we get to the sixth possession, we have enough data that we're smashing them. We dominated their front. I mean, if you can't see that in terms of 211 rushing yards, I'm not sure what to tell you. They had a 5-man rush. They're playing 5-1. Jalen Smith, hopefully I'm not mispronouncing his name, Jalen Smith, playing the one Mike backer was not a good look for them. They could not handle our front and our pulling linemen's ability to get out and get a hat on a hat. And as a missed opportunity, if you ask me, pure waste on the fourth and sixth possession. Very easily could have been up 21-7 once we stopped the Giants to open the third quarter. And we eventually get a field goal on the sixth possession to go up 13-7. Very easily could have been 21-7 at that point. Maybe worse if we actually recognize formations and switch off in man coverage against bunch formations. But I digress there. So we're going to look at the plays, and I've got the down and distance and result off screen on a separate screen, so you may kind of get a little bit of pause occasionally for me to refer to it. So fourth possession, 7-all tie. I think we take possession with about 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. First one's going to be an incomplete pass to Duve on a slant. This was there all day. I mean, this was there all day. Demarcus Robinson dropped one prior to our game-ending fumble. Now, this ball is tipped. I'm not sure if you look. I said this in the one of the previews where I was talking about Kayvon Thibodeaux. The Giants are fantastic at this, at recognizing when they're not going to get there with the pass rush. So they get their hands up. I mean, what can you do? You can't hold both hands as an offensive lineman. It appears to me as if Powers has this guy's left hand locked up, so the guy's getting his right hand up there. There's 2 defensive linemen. They're in a 5-1 look, they being the Giants. So that's why the ball ends up being so low. My initial thought on this was like, my God, that throw was low from Lamar. Thankfully, they gave us a look between plays to give us some context so we can understand that it was tipped. And that's something that needs to happen more often with football broadcasts. If they didn't show us this between plays, if they didn't refer and illustrate to us that the ball was tipped, we would think Lamar just threw a 9-yard slant and was off by 3.5 yards. And that's where, stop showing the quarterback or the head coach in between plays on a close-up. I've seen enough pictures of Lamar Jackson. I've seen enough pictures of John Harbaugh. We can just go ahead and show a little bit of the play in between plays. This is really weird to me. This worked 3 times for the Giants. Stemming, moving your alignment on motion is not a new tactic. I mean, I've done it before with youth and high school kids, and it worked on us. I mean, it worked on us, and it got us to jump for whatever reason. Was it intentional? I'm not sure, but it certainly looks like it. Intentional meaning were the Giants actively trying to get us to do that? Maybe they identified something in film that showed them that would work. So that creates a 2nd and 15 from our own 20, kind of a perilous situation, and then we just go to work. We just rip off plays against this defense that everybody was so high on. I'm not saying they're not a good group of tough guys, but we shredded them. Yards per play, 7 for the game. 8.8 yards per rush. I'm not a huge fan of us, getting Patrick Ricard out here in routes. And neither are most people, I understand, but at least it does allocate some kind of resource to him. And when we motion him from right to left or left to right, generally you're going to get a kick-out block by him. I think we've got to run opposite him more. I think we've got to have him motioning right to left, kick out this end, have Lamar open this way, and then run the wind back counter back to the other side behind like a pulling guard and tackle. I think that's got to happen. That's going to be wide open. Our counter wind back is unstoppable so far this year. It's really, I don't know what the yards per carry are. I'll try to find that this week if I can. It's got to be over 6. Huge play on the second 15, 16-yard gain from Lamar to Mark Andrews. All right, 1st and 10 from our own 36. This is the only run play on the drive. Again, kind of like I mentioned, you get Ricard motioning from right to left, and you got an excellent kick-out block. You got a great job by this edge player, too, trying to collapse it down, getting his pads below Ricard's pads. You know, I always say low man wins. So much to this concept for us. Lamar opening to this direction, so he could keep it. He could keep it and go around the end if the defensive end chases Ricard, chases Moses on the pull. We get the wind back by Drake. Great job by Linderbaum on the pull. I don't give you the end zone angle on this one, but look, if you don't recognize what Tyler Linderbaum is doing, like, you know, ask me in the comment section or send me an email, and I'll refer you to some vids that can show you, you know, O-line techniques and stuff. And I'm not trying to be a jackass about it. I'm just trying to help people out who don't understand, you know, what we have in a slightly undersized young man in his first year in the NFL who's able to do some of these things quite quickly, if you ask me. Pulling around the edge after snapping the football. He's pulling to his left after snapping the ball with his right. Enough about that. Again, Lamar opening to his right, appears to be reading this D end. They had no answer for this. None. Drake ended up with, 119 on 10 carries, something like that. 2 30-yard runs. Pretty amazing, you know, production, if you ask me. Okay, now down into Giants territory. We're about 2:15, 2:20 left in the quarter. We just had 2 big chunk plays. One of them a 30-yard run. We get another chunk play. Andrews over the middle. I actually really like this play. I'm not a huge fan of us running this and only this at a bunch right A, so bunch to our right. The back, you know, generally is going to flare to that side. But I love the concept. Like Andrews, you know, I call it space. Likely is kind of sitting between the top of the numbers and the hash. I kind of wish Duve was on this, you know, I kind of wish Duve was on this post more often as a later option for us. Like we've hit those plays. Like it's just weak sauce by people who are like, oh, we don't have threats downfield. Have you not watched Duve this year with 2 20-yard plus catches against the Jets for touchdowns? Have you not watched Duve be open twice against the Bengals last week on vertical concepts where we overthrew him? Like, that's just not true. It's patently not true. 18-yard gain to Mark Andrews over the middle. Jalen Smith having a really hard time covering these routes. So now here we are, 1st and 10 from the 16. Diving catch by Oliver. I like the concept, kind of like a pseudo mesh. I'm cool with it. One thing we do not do, and I don't know why, I understand we're a playmaker. Like Mark Andrews, we're a playmaker. But to me, the best teams, when I say the best teams, I mean the Chiefs, you know, the Bucks. I know they've only won 1 Super Bowl, but Bucks, Patriots, Brady teams. Okay, let's do it that way. Can't put the Bills there yet, even though they're best or second best team in the league at this point in terms of record and results. They haven't won a Super Bowl yet, so I'm just going to focus on Chiefs and Bucks. You know what they do? Their best receiver or their best tight end or whoever it is, he runs this route such that this safety cannot stay with Oliver, and this is a touchdown. So what I mean is, Andrews runs his route to get himself open. I understand that. You're a playmaker, we want you to. What I have been taught is the top side guy on mesh, and this looks like mesh to me. It's got some elements to it. You know, there's some other things going on. But to me, this looks like the type of route where Mark Andrews' feet need to be here and forcing that defender to either go underneath, go over the top. To me, this looks like a poorly executed job by Mark Andrews, even though it doesn't exactly look like mesh from the standpoint of his route. He's going a little bit, he's pushing a little bit vertical. I just contend to you that on this situation, there needs to be a little bit higher level of awareness. And if we get a good throw to Oliver, it looks like a great catch. Obviously, we know it was reviewed and determined to be incomplete. it's an opportunity for him to be absolutely wide open right about now and to have a serious opportunity to get in the end zone. All right, another thing that just, kind of has to be said. At some point, we got to attack with the running backs. It doesn't necessarily have to be this play. But there was other situations where we have Andrews running routes like to the middle of the field, Duve on like a vertical, and then Drake or someone slipping out into the flats. And there's 8-10 yards difference between him in terms of the level and the next defender. I mean, even though it was a catch on Andrews, for some of them, we got to get the ball to the running backs in the flats. All right, so 2nd and 10. Got to be a run, right? Nah, we're throwing the ball. Wink has this tendency to play cover 2 between like the positive 18 and the positive 32, 34, something like that. So cover 2's ball's off target by Lamar. Again, somewhat of a mesh look. And then Duve running the corner route. I think Duve's corner route's got to be a little bit more towards the back pylon. It looks like maybe he's running it there, but that's not where Lamar's throwing it. Look at Duve. Look at the angle Duve is going at now. To me, he's going just outside of that Y, or just underneath of that Y in the New York. And this ball, to me, appears to be thrown like back over here, and I think it's got to be, you guys can let me know what your perception of it is. I think it's got to be thrown there or maybe even further back in the corner of the end zone because, you do have this corner that we're dealing with. It's a cover 2, like I said. It's a cover 2 zone. Wink doesn't trust his guys to play cover 2 at midfield because he thinks there's too much width to the field and too much depth. He trusts them down in this area because there's less depth for them to cover. And to me, this is a missed opportunity by Lamar. But before that, it's a missed opportunity by our coaches. We're bludgeoning them with the run. It's only the 2nd pass play in a row. We're going to get a 3rd and 10 next. So, of course you're going to throw on 3rd and 10. Well, wait a minute. We actually have the best guy in the league on QB power read. The best guy in the league on QB counter read. I'm not sure why we don't run it once. I don't know what this is. It almost seems like we're trying to get Lamar a touchdown or like we're trying to throw the ball in for some reason. I don't give a damn how we score. I don't care if it's Lamar, Kenyon Drake. I don't care if it's Josh Oliver, Duve. I'm sure you don't care either. Like, let's just score. It's a weird call. And I'm not sure how to have a conversation with people who think that it's a good call. And this is just obviously it's a poorly thrown ball by Lamar. That ball should be thrown, if you ask me, back over in this direction here. And Duve either catches it, and gets his 2 feet in bounds, or it's slightly out of bounds. To me, this is a fly. I would call this a flyer. I'm not sure what you would call it. It doesn't look like to me he's throwing it away from this safety and away from this corner at the same time. It looks like he's throwing it away from the corner, but he's actually, if you ask me, kind of bringing Duve back to the safety a little bit. And Duve gives up on it because it's totally uncatchable. Let me know what your perception of that throw is. I think that's one that Lamar has made, dozens of times before in the NFL. I really thought that we were going to look at running QB counter read or QB power read here, but when we lined up here with no Ricard on the field, I knew it wasn't coming. I think this ball is catchable by Mark Andrews. If you're the best tight end in the league, 2nd best tight end in the league, 3rd best, whatever he is, you catch the ball, right? Having said that, the ball's a little off target by Lamar too. It takes 2 to tango, and it takes 2 to make a mistake. So I get it. Now, one thing that I want to mention about the pass concepts, like when we knew we were getting man, I just don't understand why we're not running the China out route or whip route, as people call it. I guess that's what it's called on Madden because that's what everybody calls it now. Especially when we've got this stacked man defender who's got to navigate all this traffic on these in-breaking routes. Yes, we want to attack the middle of the field. Yes, Mark Andrews is a great player, and he really, commands a lot of attention. There's a whole hell of a lot of space up here for us to attack and use Mark Andrews to pull a safety away. All we need is one completion and one missed tackle or broken tackle in here, and there's literally no one to help out because the free safety is jumping Mark Andrews so much, and I just feel like we're a little short-sighted. Yeah, we want to convert the 3rd down. Yes, we do. Duve and Likely can make plays. And again, the route that I think is got to be used more often out of this bunch set Andrews there. Let the middle of the field safety jump it. Duve on this late developing post, which is kind of what Likely runs here, but Likely is a little bit slower getting there, and the timing of it in terms of the safety. Now, the safety's already jumping it. Lamar's pulling the pin and throwing the ball already, but I just feel like that, do you guys remember that? It was Duve's second touchdown against the Jets, where the safety jumped. There was two safeties. Let's say strong safety to one side here, free safety to this side. Andrews runs the same route. This free safety jumps it. When he jumps it, it totally opens up. I'm talking about it against the Jets. Totally opens up this part of the field. Duve runs onto it from a post against zone. Over. I'm not sure why we're not running that more with Duve. I mean, he's proven that he can make those plays. Same play, end zone angle. Again, you got this 5-1 look by the Jets. In terms of pass pro, I thought we did a nice job against that 5-1. Here's the free safety who's going to jump Andrews, and then you'll get a nice look at. And, I mean, if you think I'm being too critical on Lamar, I'm not sure what to tell you. Like, the ball is not thrown well. It needs to be caught. Yes, the ball should be thrown out here. This is man. It's a trailing defender who's 1.5 yards, 2 yards behind him. This ball should be thrown like here, if you ask me, or maybe here. I think Andrews has got to slow up a little bit for it. Should he catch the ball? Yes. Should it go down as a drop? Yes. If we're tracking Lamar's throws, is it an off-target throw? Yes. I don't know. You might disagree, and that's fine. You can still watch my channel, but you can be wrong too. Ends up being a field goal. Whose fault is it? Lamar's? Mark Andrews? Duve's? Duve's not getting separation, I guess. Man, I don't like our coaches' calls. I don't. You're a bully. Like, our O-line is bullying them, and you can see that from the gameplay. You literally could see it from the gameplay. Not just this drive, not just the 130-yard run that I showed you by Drake. Yeah, we might run the ball on 2nd and 10, and they might stop it for a -1, a loss of 1. That's true. Well, then we're facing 3rd and 11. Hell, we face 3rd and 10 anyway. What's the difference? Andrews was able to get open. What's the difference? I'm not sure why on a day when we average, 8.8 yards per rush. Now that's game-long stats for 60 minutes. So let's pull that back. What have we done to this point? Well, Drake popped a 30-yard touchdown on the first drive. Maybe we should run the same concept, just the power play, and see if they can stop it. I don't know. Do you guys have the same thoughts? It's easy to say this now when we lost the game and we missed an opportunity to Duve. Do I think that's a ball that we complete 70% of the time to Duve in the back left corner? No, I don't. The ball to Andrews, do I think that should be completed 70, 80% of the time? Yes, I do. Do I think Andrews should catch that specific ball 70, 80% of the time? Yes, I do. Do I think Lamar should throw a better ball 95% of the time? Absolutely. I would have liked to have seen the percent chance that we score on one single run play from the 16-yard line on the 4th possession to go up 14-7. Here's why. I was worried about the Giants doubling up here. So the Giants getting a touchdown to end the second quarter, because I believe that field goal right there came with like 140 on the clock, 145, okay, according to my charting. So, I might be off by a little bit there, but makes it 10-7. Luckily, we force the Giants to punt, and then we get 3 plays to end the quarter, and we did get nothing out of it either, all right? So 10-7 at the half, very easily could have been 14-7. Am I being, overly critical? You tell me, about the play calls. It feels like down there in the red zone, we're playing against 13 defenders. It feels like we're avoiding certain calls because we're trying to score in one play. And I thought they had trouble tackling us. I thought our guys blocked the ever-loving crap out of their front. And I feel like you could see that watching it. And the coaches get the end zone view. Here's how it works. In high school, this is true as well. So, not in youth football, but college and the NFL, it's even better. You get the end zone angle like 7 seconds after the play is over, something like that. In high school, something like that. Maybe it's 9 seconds. It's really close. That's in high school. So we could see the previous play. So like Drake's 30-yard run here, we could see that within like 9 seconds. Now, not necessarily before the next play is called, especially if you're like a hurry-up offense situation. but enough to know, hey, that D tackle number, whatever, or that D end, we're kicking the crap out of him. Let's run at him again. And I don't think their ends, Jihad Ward, Kayvon Thibodeau, I forget the other guy's name, I don't think those guys handled our kickout blocks well at all. They didn't make a single play against our kickout blocks. Maybe we should put them in that situation again. That's my thoughts on the red zone offense. Does it mean it's a magic formula? Hey, let's just run the ball and score. No. Well, it was certainly working to that point. And why is it that Greg Roman seems to go away from what is working before anyone stops it? It's like we want to outsmart the other team, or we have some other motivation involved than just, let's get this ball in the end zone, or let's get it closer to the end zone. I would have loved to have seen a 2nd and 3. With all the conflict that Lamar puts defenses in, Wink Martindale on a 2nd 3, he's going to bring pressure. He might get a sack. Yeah, he might get a sack and force a 3rd and 10. We were in 3rd and 10 anyway. I feel like Wink and his blitzes opened them up for big plays, and we gashed them. And unfortunately, we let them off the hook. On the 4th possession and the 6th possession, I think, is where the seeds of this loss were planted. Let me know what you think of my thoughts in the comment section, how I broke down these plays, or what little breakdown I actually did, because I know I was ranting through some of it. Appreciate you guys' time. We're all frustrated, as we should be, because we expect our coaches and our players, to execute and call the game at a higher level than what we saw on Sunday.